Hey there! Before this video starts, I just want to announce that I've started a Patreon! Am I a real tuber now? For only $2, you get access to some behind the scenes stuff, and for a little more, you can get your name in the videos, like these lovely people. Thank you to everyone who's supporting. Next year, I'll be adding some more exclusive stuff, but for now, this is finally open if you want to support your boy directly. Lord knows I need it. Cool? Cool. Music is crazy, and what's even crazier is paying to hear it all while destroying your eardrums. I'm talking about live concerts, and whether you've been to one or not, you know these things can get ridiculous. People jumping from mad heights to crazy spectacles to the artist not even being there. A lot has happened at these things. So today, we're gonna look at some of the most insane concerts to ever happen, with help from another music tuber. We're just gonna pretend like you don't know who it is and you didn't read the title, okay? And if at any point you end up enjoying this video, then consider subscribing. It would mean a ton. Everyone else has hit 300k except for me, so please help me fix this. Anyways, let's get into this. Enjoy! Listen, I may not go to as many concerts now as I'd like to on the fact that every concert today costs a mortgage, but that doesn't mean I can't experience this stuff secondhand. Specifically, when someone does something crazy and the next day you see it all over your timelines and you can't hear anything because your friend is blocking the mic. Did you not look at the video before posting it, Cindy? It's alright, I don't even want to hear Drake's sperm concert. You did me a favor. Concerts can be crazy and a lot of fun. A bunch of people coming together to celebrate the same type of music you like can be reassuring that you're not a weirdo. And just looking at recent festivals and EDM or rock concerts, you see it's not just the people going having a blast, but the artists themselves too. At least that's how I'd feel, being at Virginia Beach, standing in a crowd of 200,000 people, listening to that new Fatboy Slim, that Fat Boy sound, that Fat Boy sound.
Anyone hear that new Fat Boy sound?
And with those numbers, you gotta go all out. So let's just jump into it. Now, to have an insane show, you gotta have a cool stage. So let's start off with people who went above and beyond with their stage design. Starting with Pink Floyd and their shows for their album The Wall back in the 80s. As for this show, they performed almost the whole time behind, you guessed it, a wall. They'd build it up over the course of the show and they'd knock it down at the end. I love paying to not see the artist. Trust me, we'll come back to that. Another big one is U2's 1997 tour Pop Mart, where they constructed this giant 100-foot McDonald's looking ass arch with big lights, a mirror lemon on the side that would open up, and the band performing both under and inside of it. They were, quote, taking a supermarket on the road. Those deals ain't getting any lower. This was their way of commenting on consumerism, and Bono emerges from this lemon like an alien visiting Earth. But if you want to be fully blinded by the lights, then go back to 2006 when Daft Punk put on their legendary Coachella performance inside of a giant pyramid with lights all over it and on themselves. This show was crazy and would later serve as inspiration for the cover and track list of their next project, Alive 2007, which is just one of the best live albums ever. From pyramids to mountains, there's people who tell entire stories with their shows. Kanye and Kendrick Lamar encasing and weaving their songs into a new way to make some sort of narrative. But if you're talking about being encased literally, take a look at drummer Tommy Lee and his band Motley Crue, deciding it would be cool to just start drumming in the sky. Like, look at this guy. And then they thought, hey, this isn't cool enough. How about I drum upside down? And his band was like, cool, we're drumming upside down now, building these giant contraptions to drum in the most insane ways possible. But if we're talking beginning to end stage design, one band that's up there for sure has to be Iron Maiden. They're on a whole nother level as they put on these wild shows, changing sets all throughout, giant mecha samurais to gun flamethrowers. Is this even a concert anymore? Bros are fighting actual demons on stage and everyone is like, yeah, get them. Or you can make the stage yourself and put on a digital concert if human limitations are too much for you. Japan's been doing this with virtual idol shows, performances from digital singers like Hatsune Miku or Kazuna AI. And over here we got Fortnite. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Roblox 2. How could I? Okay, so we've seen some crazy stages, but what about the actual show? You can have the most wild set design ever, but if you just suck, then it doesn't matter. Like I mentioned, live shows can be really amazing, once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and some people are just crazy, like clinically insane, depending on who you are and what genre you're in. Like, take a look at Ozzy Osbourne in 1982, when while he was performing, someone threw a bat on stage, and he just bit the head off of it. Ozzy actually thought it was fake until he realized, and had to get a ton of rabies shots. See, when people bring this up, they're always like, oh my gosh, Ozzy did that, how could he do that? But like, no one's questioning the dude that snuck a bat into the show. Wild, but still not as wild as the stuff Marilyn Manson was getting into. Like, he was punching lights and almost fought with his guitarist as he thought he was squaring up with him, which is still not as crazy as what rock artist Gigi Allen did during his shows. Like, he would just straight up assault the audience. This man was insane. From mutilating himself on stage to doing stuff that I can't tell you about or my channel would get nuked. This guy was a certified lunatic. So let's dial it back a bit to a simpler time in 2012 when Jay-Z and Kanye West went on their Watch the Throne tour in 2011, and at one show in particular, after finishing their setlist, decided to do an encore. If you could guess, with them being at their Paris, France stop, Jay-Z and Kanye both knew that there was only one song that was appropriate to play. Tell me, who was in Paris? And they played it not once, not twice, not even 5 times, but 8 times in a row. Then Jay-Z said, and then they did 11 times in a row. If you're wondering why they bawled so hard, it was because they were gathering footage for the song's music video. And it was an encore, so you really could have left whenever you wanted. Travis Scott tried to beat it recently at his concert this year in Tulsa, but he only did 10. We'll get him next time. Speaking of doing something over and over again, everyone's favorite masked supervillain MF Doom would take advantage of the fact that he hid his face by bringing out doppelgangers at his live shows. Fake Doom clones coming out, saying a couple lines, and it was the audience's job to boo them off the stage. And he'd do this once or twice before actually coming out. But in the later years, it would kind of get out of hand, because sometimes he would just not show up to concerts and send imposters to do the whole thing. I remember reading somewhere a while ago he brought out like 8 doppelgangers or something before he came out. Not sure if that one's true, but this one is, and it's like, okay, yeah, supervillain type G, cool. But also like, no, I'm paying to see you. On a lighter note, I love when artists interact with the fans or even bring them on stage with them. 2 of my faves are Adele spotlighting these 2 peeps who did a cover medley of her songs online and she got them to sing it live. And Mac DeMarco when he brought up a fan to play guitar on one of his songs. I promise, experiences like this live in people's minds forever. Mac also has a habit of just taking off his clothes in true rock fashion. Just thought you should know. But one person that has transcended it all, in my opinion, has to be the Michael Jackson. An all-around performer, singer, dancer, choreographer, producer, stage designer, monkey owner. He has so many iconic moments, like the moonwalk. Just one of his signature moves and would be mimicked all over the planet. Imagine seeing the moonwalk live for the first time. Like, you just witnessed history and someone there was probably like, yeah, that was cool. One of my personal faves that just keeps getting passed around is when he came out and just stood there for like 15 minutes and didn't do anything. This was for his Dangerous era, and this show in particular was in Romania. Like, he didn't move and people were passing out, crying, pissing and shitting probably. You just don't get this stuff these days, you know? Imagine paying like $1 billion to watch Michael Jackson and you see him for like literally 8 seconds and miss the whole show. Sorry, no refunds. In 2009, he was gearing up to do his final concert ever, the This Is It show at the O2 Arena in London, but he would unfortunately pass away during the rehearsals for it. His team compiled all the rehearsal footage and made a movie out of it, also titled This Is It, and it was amazing. I remember taking a school field trip to watch it in theaters when it came out when I was like 11, and watching it actually helped to kickstart my journey for music and music appreciation. Up until then, I was just like picking out random songs here and there, you know? I was a floater. But with that movie, I went down the MJ rabbit hole, and judging by the rehearsals and effects alone, this concert really would have been something special if it happened. Also, don't ask me what I was doing when he died. It was kind of embarrassing. That's a new sound. I'm getting a phone call? Oh yeah, this is where I stand when I'm behind that white background, by the way. What, you thought I was just in some white void or something? That doesn't make any sense. Whoa, is that internet personality and music blogger Ruff Criminal?
Hello everyone, yes it is me, niche internet micro celebrity and 10-second review man Ruff Criminal. How's everybody doing today? Mr. Bites, how are you?
I'm great, good to see you, dude. I'm looking at live concerts today.
Ooh, that sounds cool. I actually know a few. Would you mind if I come join you?
Cool, wait, what?
Package for, Mr. Bites?
Ha! Oh, you were not kidding. Welcome, Ruff Criminal, to the show. The very first guest of many, I hope. Ooh, and check this out. A free Big D concert is happening today, but it's only accessible by parachute? I'm sure that's a typo. So, you say you have some crazy live shows for us, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm no Miley Cyrus, but I think I got some bangers.
Cool. Oh, and before someone mentions it, because I know you will, it's no secret that these things can get out of hand very fast, as there are a lot of examples of that happening. So stay safe, guys. It's dangerous out here. All right, man, take us away.
How do I change the scene?
Oh, you gotta do this thing with your mind, like you gotta imagine it. But wait until I'm done talking to.
One of the cool things about live shows is that it's a chance for the unthinkable to happen. It could be surprise guest appearances or crazy encores like you saw. And one place where this kind of stuff happens a lot is at festivals. It's already cool that audiences are able to see an array of different artists across one weekend or a few days. And nowadays there are so many different options for festivals. Back in the day they didn't have as many to choose from, but one of the most legendary festivals of all time would be Woodstock, which was from back in the day and contains some of the greatest shows and performances of all time, especially from one of my favorite artists, Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix got up on stage and played the national anthem, but he played it purely instrumental on his guitar, and while being an instrumental, he somehow turned it into a war protest song. I mean, takes an instrument like a guitar and uses it to make sound effects emulating bombs, explosions, screaming. It's really surreal. If you haven't watched that, by all means check it out. Another big festival was Live Aid, which was a benefit concert back in 1985 to help attack famine in Ethiopia. Live Aid took place across 2 different venues at the same time, and some of the notable performances were from Queen, David Bowie, Sade, and Elton John. There was a sequel, I guess you could call it, in 2005 called Live 8 with modern artists, but yeah, no one really talks about that one for a reason. It didn't really make the same splash. But something people do talk about every year is the Super Bowl, which you could kind of count as a festival if you think about it. I mean, you've got an audience of hundreds of millions of people tuning in every year just to watch the halftime show alone. And we've had some of the biggest names performing there. Michael Jackson, Prince playing in the rain, Black Eyed Peas, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, tons of big names. All the way to Janet Jackson's infamous wardrobe malfunction with Justin Timberlake. Or if you want to look at more recent artists, we've had Dr. Dre, Katy Perry, Rihanna, Bruno Mars, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers in a combination that we didn't know we needed, and after we saw, we realized, no, we didn't need that. Or a big recent one that comes to mind for me is The Weeknd. It's crazy to think that in about 10 years we went from The Weeknd doing secret shows in Toronto where no one knew what he looked like to performing at the Super Bowl in this insane spectacle that has spawned memes for years to come.
Now, like you mentioned, you may know about secret concerts, artists putting on shows in small places only a handful of people get to attend. But how about going up a level to artists performing in places where they're not supposed to be? First up is Metallica, where in 2013, they made history by putting on a show in Antarctica, becoming the first band ever to play on all 7 continents on Earth in 1 year. Traveling the world, Travis Scott was supposed to do a gig at the pyramids in Egypt, but that got canned. If that happened, he would have joined the list of the few artists who have actually performed there, such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Grateful Dead, and Frank Sinatra.
But to travel the world, most of these people need planes. So how about a concert on there too? Like what Korn did, having a show inside of a plane 37,000 feet in the air in 2007, playing to contest winners and US soldiers. And with no AC power, Jonathan Davis, the lead singer, had to sing through the PA system. The White Stripes, a duo you may know for the song Seven Nation Army, they did a pop-up show inside of a bowling alley in 2007, and they didn't even bowl. Well, they did bowl, but the first ball they threw was a gutter ball, so I'm just going to say they didn't bowl. One of the first pop-up shows to make headlines was the Beatles doing their renowned rooftop concert in 1969. Nobody was expecting it and police were called.
Imagine going for your lunch break and just seeing the biggest artist on the planet at the time just casually playing on a building.
Foo Fighters played both on the back of a truck dressed in hillbilly costumes and at a pizza shop. Rage Against the Machine played in front of Wall Street. That's pretty on brand for them. Weezer on a cruise liner, and Sex Pistols played one of their very first gigs ever at a prison. This happened in 1976. They didn't even have an album out, and if you're thinking prison show is out of the ordinary, well, it is, but they weren't the first to do it. That would be Johnny Cash, doing it not once but twice, back to back for 2 years straight, one time at Folsom Prison and another in San Quentin. And to wrap things up here is U2 again. Do you remember that Pop Mart tour that Bites talked about earlier? Well, U2 actually announced that tour inside of a Kmart, a department store that isn't even around anymore. They held a press conference there and answered reporter questions. It's a pretty weird place to announce a show, but maybe not as weird as an aircraft carrier like Kiss did. That one's kind of insane. Also, Boyz II Men played at the Great Wall of China. I'm just throwing that out. What were they even doing there?
And with that, that wraps up this video. Huge thanks to Ruff Criminal for hanging out today.
And Mr. Bites, I want to thank you for having me on today. You know, it's been a lifelong dream of mine to be a tiny cartoon man talking about famous concerts. And to everybody watching this video, thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in following my channel, you can subscribe to me. I'm here on YouTube.
But like, actually, he is almost at 100,000 subscribers and he totally deserves it. So if you're a fan of me, I'm sure you'll be a fan of him. He makes great stuff. I want to see him at 100K.
Also, I'm not jumping out of this plane with you.
Well, you can stay here if you want, but I'm going to this thing.
All right, well, good luck with that, buddy. Huh, well, I mean, I've always wanted to see a cockpit. I guess that would be cool. Well, how'd you...
The concert's tomorrow.